Hello and welcome to A for Arsenal. In this video we're going to talk about Manchester United beating Liverpool and what it means for a club like Arsenal. But before that, I'd like to thank everybody who subscribed to me. Last time I checked it was around 168 170 subs. So thank you all are legends. And my aim for this channel would be to double the subscriber count by the Qatar World Cup. So around 340-350 subs. Ideally, if we reach 500, that's great. But yeah, I wanted to thank you all. So let's begin by discussing yesterday's game. Manchester United beat Liverpool 2-1, and even though the scoreline suggests 2-1, I think it was a great victory for Manchester United. Some have called it a resounding victory. I reserve my judgment on that, but it was a very important victory for Manchester United, right? We'll talk about Liverpool first, okay? For Liverpool, I feel there are a few issues that need to be addressed, and of course, I'd like to say that I'm not a Liverpool supporter. Neither do I watch them week in, week out. But I've seen them enough. I've seen enough football that I could see some issues. So, like for example, okay, when I was watching yesterday's game, it felt like I was watching the same people trying to do the same things, but not really doing them in the same way, if that makes sense. Like, what a player was trying to do, what Liverpool was trying to do, but it was just not coming off. Now, teams have off games, and you might just say that Liverpool was just not on their song yesterday, but it just felt like the plan was there, but it was not being able to be executed to the best outcome, even despite the players' efforts. So, there are two issues for this. One, I think, is pretty obvious, that the squad has not been refreshed, and the refresh is coming very slow. That's the most common criticism by Liverpool fans online, right? And the second very obvious issue is that the midfield is lacking creativity because Thiago's injury, right? Since Thiago is injured, there is no creativity. I'd also like to say that a lot of people are saying Hendo is done, Milner is done. I think these two have roles remaining for Liverpool, like they still have a big role to play, but maybe that role needs to be limited to coming off the bench. Liverpool cannot be starting, or at least should not be starting, James Milner in 2022 for 2 of their 3 games. It's like it's a recipe for disaster, right? Like in the game, I felt Milner was the only one fighting, but he was doing so much, maybe too much, that it led to maybe confusion about what the role of the other players are in the team, right? Henderson's just not been on it. That's what the common consensus is among the Liverpool fans. And the injury crisis really adds to this confusion even more. Another thing that I noticed was that in the first half, so I check my stats and heat maps and everything on SofaScore. So after the first half, when I checked the players' average positions, Liverpool were almost playing a 4-2-2, 4 backline, Henderson and Milner in this midfield spots, or a little deep midfield spots actually. Diaz and Salah wide, and Harvey Elliott was as advanced as Bobby Firmino. Bobby Firmino was as deep as Harvey Elliott. And what this basically led to was the fact that there was no pressure on United's backline at all, which is where I feel they missed Darwin Núñez the most. Now, after the game, I saw plenty of over-the-top reactions, knee-jerk reactions, Liverpool fans saying #Virgil van Disney, Klopp out, FSG out, Henderson out. Now, I understand those sentiments, but Liverpool fans need to be a little realistic about their rebuild. Like, just like Arsenal, Liverpool cannot afford to squander money, right? Our signings have to be smart, and there will be situations where we have to pick and choose between our best players. Like, for example, I'm 100% sure Klopp would like somebody like Casemiro at Liverpool, right? But I don't think Liverpool has the ability or the plan to spend 60 million on a 30-year-old, and 30 is not that old by the way, but 60 million on a 30-year-old very limited resale value on close to around £375,000 a week. मतलब इससे last season तक Liverpool had to choose between Mane and Salah. Like the conversations were we have to choose between renewing Mane or Salah. So like you can't just be like, oh, Thiago's out and Fabinho's not 100% and Naby Keita isn't showing up, let's get Casemiro. Now Liverpool's aren't saying let's get Casemiro, but the sentiment is the same, that we need a huge rebuild. And also another thing is that Premier League clubs aren't entitled to signings. Like Liverpool fans want Jude Bellingham, but Borussia Dortmund isn't obligated to sell it to Liverpool, right? They've already lost Haaland this season, and there is an agreement, there is an identification that Jude Bellingham will come to Liverpool, but after, let's say, next season he'll come. Matheus Nunes, who's gone to Wolves, Liverpool were targeting him, but again there are personal relationships which do play a role, and just because, let's say, Liverpool really did want Matheus Nunes, but maybe Jorge Mendes just wanted him to go to Wolves. So you can't have career mode or FIFA level rebuilds where you ship off Origi and you replace him with Mbappe or any other signing for that matter, that you can't always replace a lower quality player with a high quality or a world class player. Now losing Mane was a huge hit for Liverpool, but it's very, very difficult to replace Mane with a player of the same caliber. I mean, some would say that they replaced him with Luis Diaz, who's a fantastic player, by the way. But we need to be a little realistic about our rebuilds. By the way, I think the demise of Liverpool is being greatly exaggerated. A lot of teams are saying, "Chalo, Liverpool ka cycle khatam ho gaya." Klopp is losing the dressing room like he lost it at Dortmund when he lost Lewandowski, and now he's lost Mane, so he's going to lose the dressing room, or he's going to lose his way, whatever. I think that's a lot of great exaggeration. In a few weeks, when Thiago's fit, when Fabinho is fully fit, when, let's say, somebody like Konate comes back to the back line, when Jota comes back, we'll see pretty much the same Liverpool. Okay, maybe not 100% the same Liverpool that pushed Man City all the way, but maybe at least 70, 80, 90% of it. And Liverpool is still one of the best teams in the world. So yeah, I think all this talk about, Liverpool is done, their cycle is finished, I think it's a little premature. Moving on to Manchester United, there's not much to add here except, first of all, shout out to Lisandro Martinez. He was being written off after the first game, including me. I also thought that he seems like a little misfit, but that's Ivan Toney, right? Ivan Toney bullied Ben White, and surprise, he's good today. So I think Lisandro Martinez is going to be a great signing for Manchester United. Same with Varane, that pairing looks good. I don't think Maguire gets back in. Also, great play by Malacia, and that team looks formidable. If United add Antony to this, that'll be an incredible team, and I would put them as one of the favourites for top 4. But this is only one game, and Liverpool gave them the space to attack behind them, right? There are a lot of teams which play with a deeper line. So for example, Brighton is much better drilled. Crystal Palace is much better drilled in terms of defence. So it'll be very interesting to see what United do against a low block or a more pragmatic team. But Erik ten Hag will take a lot of heart from this victory. It was, like I said, it was a very important victory for Manchester United, and they can only go up from there. It was a very important victory, and I think a couple of weeks ago, even till last week, I was looking forward for Arsenal going to Old Trafford, but not anymore. Good on United for showing up. Good on Erik ten Hag, and it'll be a very interesting season for Manchester United as well. I don't have much to add about United. They played to their strengths. They exposed Liverpool's weakness, and they had fast, free-flowing football, which is pretty reminiscent of what Ajax also does. So good on Manchester United. It'll be very interesting as they face more teams. Now let's just move on to what this match means for a club like Arsenal. Since this is an Arsenal channel, we have to talk about Arsenal. Apart from City, all other top 6 teams have played against each other at least once. right? Spurs, Chelsea played against each other. Now Manchester United, Liverpool have played against each other. City, they played West Ham. No, have they played West Ham? I think they played West Ham. But the point is, apart from City and Arsenal, Baki, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs and United have played each other in some capacity. Now, these teams, of course, once they play each other, one of them or both of them will drop points, and so Arsenal's position looks better. It looks a little inflated. But what I realized, till about yesterday before the game, I was very calm about the fact if we get somebody or if we don't get somebody. But after yesterday's game, seeing how anyone is capable of, dropping points. If Liverpool had won yesterday, I would have still been okay, because I would be like, okay, United aren't up to quality right now, we can easily beat them and we can get our points over them. But now the fact that United have beat Liverpool, maybe Arsenal does not beat Liverpool, we need to take advantage of all the games which we are capable of winning or which we are favourites to win, to definitely win it. Like, we cannot drop points like Chelsea dropped against Leeds. And for that, I think it's very important for us to reinforce. Whether that means getting a Jeremy Pino, whether that means getting Pedro Neto, as it was discussed yesterday, or a Tielemans, a Zaha, whoever you want to get. I think it's very important for us to reinforce, because depth is the most pressing issue for Arsenal. And if we sort out our depth, I think this season is the season where we can guarantee top 4, because the results are so unpredictable. Depth would help us go very far. It'll help us win matches which we should be winning, right? Everyone has some crisis or the other. Liverpool has a midfield crisis, Chelsea has a striker crisis, Man City has a left back crisis, United are in transition, Spurs a little start and stop. The pathway is clear to us. We also have a depth issue, but I am more optimistic about our team because our players are young. They got a very good experience last season when they just missed out on top 4, so they'll surely learn from it. But we need depth, and we need it now. This feels like the season where Leicester won the league and we were on where everyone else was in transition, and Arsenal ke liye it was a very good opportunity to win the league, but we fluffed it. Chalo, usme Giroud wasn't firing and Ozil also maybe dropped off or whatever happened, but we did not sign any outfield player. Like, if Giroud wasn't firing, we were stuck with Giroud. Same with Arsenal last season, where we replaced Aubameyang with nobody and we had to rely on Lacazette, and then when Lacazette went off form, we had to rely on only Eddie. So yeah, we need to buy somebody this transfer window. It'll help us out a lot. It'll help us win games which we should be winning, and it'll help us take advantage of all the crises and the transitions which are happening around us. Our process started 2-3 seasons ago. Now is the time to make the most of it, right? Maybe there's still 2 weeks in the transfer window. Maybe let's say United add Anthony to this and they'll all suddenly become a very strong contender for top 4, right? If they add, let's say, another striker to this, again, great. So it's very important for us to ensure that we sign somebody to cement our place in the top. I think these 2 weeks will be very definitive for us, because the drop off after Partey to Elneny is a decent player, but there is a huge drop off, and I don't want Xhaka to be in that Partey role because he'll get exposed. We need to rest Saka, so that, let's say, even if we play Fabio Vieira there, we need then some sort of player who can fit it at left centre mid. So depth is a very big issue. I think everywhere else we are sorted, just depth is the only issue, and this is the time that I hope Arsenal buy somebody in the transfer window to address this depth issue and cement our place in the top 4, because everyone around us looks vulnerable to lose points because of one issue or the other, and so will we at some point when Europa League starts and the cup competition starts, or even we will look vulnerable. But this is the best opportunity for Arsenal to capitalize. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please like it. If you don't like it, dislike it, but please leave a comment so we can discuss what I can do to improve. I respond to all comments, so if you want to get a conversation starting about what you thought about Liverpool, what you thought about United, just let me know. And thank you again for watching. Come on, you Gunners!